Sheila, and thank you, Ganesh, for that beautiful singing. Very nicely done. Now we're starting our third day of Swamiji's discourse on chapter 7. So we welcome everybody, and Swamiji has already joined our Zoom session. So I'm going to spotlight him. Here we go. By the way, as we're bringing Swamiji on, I know we still have 3 more days of this wonderful discourse, but I'm going to post in the chat a link so that anyone who wishes to can offer Guru Dakshina. So we'll post that and make it available in the chat. It's also available on our website as well. Thank you, Swamiji.
Hari Om. Thank you. Oh. Sahana vavatu sahanau bhunaktu sahaviryam karavavahai tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye namaha Samasta Janakalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahmavitvaram Vasudev Vasutam Devam Kamsachanunamardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Krupa Tamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam. Hari Om and salutations to everyone. Namaste. Yesterday, we saw in detail what is Jnanam, a very heavy dose of Vedanta. After all, Vedanta is nothing but the highest philosophy about the absolute truth. So we saw absolute Brahman over here is referred to as Para, absolute. And the other one is referred to as the lower as the Apara, Prakriti. So we have Para Prakriti and we have Apara Prakriti, and we saw over here in these shlokas Bhumirapo Nalovayu Khammano Buddhirevacha Ahankariti Yamme Binna Prakriti Ashtadha, the eightfold Prakriti, which in shloka 5 Bhagavan says Apareya Mitastvanyam Prakritim Viddhi Me Param Jiva Bhutam Mahabaho Yayedam Dharyate Jagat. Bhagavan says that this is this eightfold Prakriti is Apara. It is a lower one, but it is the higher, which is other than that, which is Jiva Bhutam Mahabaho. It is the life principle. And that is the absolute, which is yayedam dharyate jagat. It is upholding everything. And I mentioned in Vedanta, actually, truth alone is. Absolute alone is. There is nothing other than absolute. Point number one. Point number two, that absolute can never ever manifest. Because if it manifests, it loses its absolute nature. That infinite becomes finite, and finite cannot be absolute. The timeless becomes time bound. That is inferior. It cannot remain absolute. The eternal becomes the time bound. That is also not acceptable. So that existence principle can never ever become finite. And that absolute alone remains as absolute. And thus, what I said, point number two, the absolute can never ever manifest. So point number three, if at all manifest world is experienced, the manifest world which is experienced is none other than illusion. It is nothing but illusion. And I explained how it is illusion, that when the intelligent cause, the material cause, and the instrumental cause, when all three are just one and only one, the effect which is produced is illusion. And thus we say that it is none other than Maya, none other than illusion, is the point number three I talked about. And that point number three, illusion, I gave an example of the dream state. And the dream state, our mind alone is the efficient cause, the instrumental cause, and the material cause. And thus, the effect produced is called dream. And that dream is nothing but illusion. But when the mind which is within the realm of dream self forgets that it is dreaming, and it takes the dream world to be real. And that mind which takes the dream world to be real is known as a dreamer. And that dreamer can only realize that he or she is dreaming when they come out of the dream. Some nimitta has to be there to wake up the dreamer. And I mentioned there was a stone that the person falls upon. And when that person falls and wakes up, that person realizes that they are dreaming. And such a person, when they wake up and realize, it was only a dream, they are alleviated of all fear and sorrow and pain of the dream world. Immediately, the knowledge that I'm the waker and I'm not the dreamer puts end to all the problems of the dream state. In the same way, when the waker, with the help of Shastra and Guru, does sadhana and realizes, he or she realizes that I am that. And when they realize I am that, they realize that the pain and the sorrow of the waking state is because I have taken it to be real. The difference between the dreamer and realization over here is that this waking world does not go away, because the totality is what controls the samashti waking state. And because of that, the totality does not vanish. But he or she realizes, I am that, I am Brahman. And realizes that as long as totality is there, that absolute Brahman has to play a garb of Ishvara. And Ishvara is almighty, all-powerful, and the self-realized soul will offer salutations to Ishvara, realizing that he is the commander-in-chief of Maya, and offers salutations to the world which is nothing but Brahman and Brahman alone, as the power, Brahman's own power as Maya Shakti. And he offers salutations to both Ishvara and Prakriti, and lives a life of complete acceptance of the total will. As ordained by the total will alone, everything is happening. Then where am I asserting my own individuality? That knowledge is inherent in a man of self-realization, and such a person accepts the body, accepts the mind, the intellect, the prarabdha of the body, the mind and the intellect, the trials and tribulations of the mind, the pain and the sorrow of trials and tribulations of the body, the pain and sorrow of the mind, and the intellectual thirst and the intellectual abilities which he or she are not able to fathom. All this they accept as the will of the Lord, and they completely surrender to whatever needs to be done. This difference remains from the example of the waker and the dreamer. When the dreamer wakes up, there is a total cessation of the dream. But when a sadhak wakes up to the spiritual world in self-realization, the relative world continues, but knowledge arrives, and because of the presence of the knowledge, they are able to navigate through the thick and thin of life, and it is not at all seen as pain or trouble or sorrow. They understand this is the world of Maya. It is a total projection. The individual projection stops. The individual mind doesn't project and tell its own stories about the world. That stops. The intellect and the mind realize that it is totality. The individuality has absolutely no problem with the totality. But if this knowledge is not there, the intellect questions, why me? The mind says, for how long will this sorrow be there? Why am I suffering so much? Why is the other person not suffering? All these questions will be there, but upon realization, everything vanishes. The individuality is no longer there. The individuality is very little, like the moon on Lord Shiva's head. The crescent moon is all the antakarana remains. In fact, it adds beauty to such a person. We all adorn a full moon in our mind and intellect, and the ego shines right through it. The crescent moon on the head of Lord Shiva represents the ever-awakened existence. And that is what we were seeing. So now we continue with shloka number 6. Etad yonini bhutani sarvani tyupadharaya aham kritsnasya jagataha prabhavav pralayas-tatha. So Bhagavan says in shloka number 6 and 7, I am the source of all. So he says, etad yonini, which the two prakrutis, the lower and the higher, Bhagavan says, these two are the womb of all beings. The beings arise from only these. And sarvani tyupadharayan, and it upholds all in this world. Aham kritsnasya jagataha. Bhagavan says that I alone am the source of all, and I alone uphold everything. Prabhava pralayas-tatha. Jagataha kritsnasya prabhava pralaya-tatha. The utpatti of this world, the creation of this world, and the sustenance and the dissolution, all this cyclic cycle of the creation, Bhagavan says, I alone am the upholder of that. It is this pure awareness, consciousness, existence principle that lends its support to all. So, I am the source of this entire universe. Multitudes of universe. We know of just one Milky Way galaxy and how it takes us 365 days, 1 year to go around the sun. The sun takes 225 million years to go around the whole Milky Way galaxy. It also is going on. That sun also has its own prarabdha. And in this way, Prabhava, Pralaya, right now creation is going on. In so many other galaxies, there are so many Mother Earths and so many other beings. Our Shastra says so, so I believe it. Ananta Koti Brahmand are there. And they rise like bubbles and foam and froth in the ocean. How short-lived is a bubble. In the same way, the galaxies are like bubbles, rising and falling, rising and falling. The ocean remains, but the waves and the bubbles and the foam and the froth, it's continuous. At no point in time will the waves ever subside. It will continue. But the vastness of the ocean remains. The H2O ever is. Whether it is in a foam, whether it is in a wave, whether it is in a froth, whether it is in a fog, H2O remains as H2O. And that is what Bhagavan is saying. Aham kritsnyasya jagataha prabhava pralayasthata. In me, all these go on, but nothing happens to H2O. Whether high tide or low tide, water remains as water. In the same way, in the midst of all these multitudes of created worlds, absolute remains as absolute. And when one knows that I am, then nothing happens. If the wave realizes this, its identity as I am, H2O, then it will stop complaining that I am too big, I am too small, I have too much foam, I have less foam, I have too many bubbles, I have less bubbles. I am being broken by the stream of rocks. As long as the wave retains its identity as a wave, it will have qualities. But if the wave regains its identity as I am water, it regains a new identity. I'm all seven oceans. Because the essence of a wave, a foam, a froth, and all seven oceans is nothing but H2O. This is what Bhagavan is saying, that I am the self of all from the inside, and without, I'm the upholder of multitudes of the universe. Further, he sheds some more light on himself. Mattaf parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya mai sarvamidam protam sutre manigana iva. Mattaf parataram na anyat kinchidasti dhananjaya. Hey Dhananjaya, matta parataram. Oh, Arjuna, greater than me as what? Me as the absolute. Absolute is what Bhagavan is referring to as the Nirgun Nirakar, the Shuddha Brahma is what is referred to over here. Para Prakriti is saying that other than this, Matta Parataram na Kinchidasti Dhananjaya. That line is a Mahavakya of chapter 7 of Bhagavad Gita. And Mai Sarvamidam Protam Sutre Maniganaiva. I am like a Sutratma. Sutra, a thread. Like I am wearing this Rudraksha Mala. You see only the Rudraksha beads over here. What you do not see is the thread which holds each one of these beads together. In the same way, the whole universe is held by the unseen presence of Absolute. Why? Because it is a principle of existence. if this glass of hot water, if it exists, the existence of this glass depends upon the absolute existence principle. If Brahman didn't exist, the glass wouldn't exist. The glass exists, the phone exists, the book exists, everything is. So in all isness, it is the presence of Brahman. And that presence which is not seen, we call it the glass presence. We call it the phone presence. The presence which is not seen, but the manifested existence which is experienced by these eyes, the mind can comprehend the existence principle which upholds that. That is what is referred to as Mai Sarvamidam Protam Sutre Maniganaiva. That existence principle is in everything. Because mud is, all mud pots express existence. And in special wombs, like the one which has the equipment of BMI with the MNI, that existence principle even expresses awareness along with existence. I know I am, and I'm happy. But that same existence principle which is there in a dead body as existence, but in the dead body, the subtle body is gone. So the dead body cannot experience its own existence, and thus we refer to it as dead. The body is, but the body which is dead is not capable of experiencing its existence. So in the entire pluralistic world, just like the necklace over here, all these beads are held by the unseen thread behind. In the same way, in all existence, there is the principle of existence which upholds. The glass existence has borrowed its existence from the absolute, and thus the clay has been modified into this cup, and it has regained its new name and form. Name is a cup, form it has, which is called a cup, and it has a utility value to pour water and to drink. If I drop that, the clay shatters into pieces and it has gone back into the clay existence. The cup existence is gone, but the clay existence remains. This is what is referred to over here as Sutratma. I am the thread of existence, awareness, which binds everything. So, Shankaracharya ji says, Dirgha Tantushu Patavat, a long thread. Otherwise, some people may think, literally they will think like Paramatma is like a thread. But please don't think it as it is an example. It is a subtle existence. It can only be known. It can only be known. You cannot dissect this cup to find the existence. That's all. but it is. In every kana of the clay in the cup, there is existence. So this over here, Bhagavan says, Matta parataram na anyat kinchidasti dhananjaya. Even in science, we go smaller, dissect, atomic, subatomic, particulate. How much can we slice? Finally, we realize that it is nothing at the most minute thing. It is just energy changing states, which gives an illusion of form. And thus, the fundamental laws of thermodynamics and physics and all that, neither energy nor matter can be created nor destroyed. They simply change state. When something dies, the form comes to an end, and along with the form, the name comes to an end, but the energy which was locked is now released, and energy is more pervasive. This is how we even harness various types of energies. There's an electric energy, magnetic energy, electromagnetic energy, kinetic energy, static. Oh, it goes on. These are all various forms of energy and matter changing states. So I know this, I'm explaining through a different route, but basically this is paralleling, it parallels what physics talks about. Absolute matter over here, Bhagavan says, it is the inferior, and it is entirely held by me, the absolute principle. That's all. Now, Jnanam is coming to an end. Now Bhagavan gives Vijnanam. Why did he tell us all these things? Remember at the end of chapter 6, that yogi which is capable of meditating, yoginam api sarvesham, the one who has given the mind to me, Shraddhavan, who is endowed with faith, Same Yuktaha, is considered to be the highest form of yogi, Bhagavan says. So now, what does he meditate on? How does he meditate? So Twampad is now shifting to Tatpad. Tat, that, and that is explained as this lower world of eightfold Prakriti, space, air, fire, water, earth, mind, intellect, and ego. In that order of from earth, water, fire, air, space. Then comes mind, intellect, and then ahankar. The subtlety is mentioned, the grosser-most to the subtle-most. And it is this subtle-most equipment of mind, intellect, and ahankar. The ahankar has to be dissolved from the individuality into the totality, and Vijnanam is a process by which we take the jiva from here to here. And that is what Bhagavan is now presenting. We see shlokas 8 and 9. Rasoham apsu kaunteya prabhasmi shashi suryayoho pranavah sarva vedeshu shabdakhe paurusham drushu punyo gandhav pruthivyam cha tejaschasmi vibhavasau जीवनम सर्वभूतेषु तपश्चास्मि तपस्विषु. हाँ, हे कौन्तेय, अर्जुना, अहम अस्मि रसः अप्सु. Now Vignan is applying this knowledge that absolute alone is everything. Understand from the previous shloka that I am the thread behind the entire necklace. And imagine if this world is a giant necklace, we are in search of Sutratma. We are in search of Brahman, which is the support of the whole universe. So Bhagavan is showing how do we find him. We want to see Krishna as the blue boy of Vrindavan, having peacock feather and yellow clothes with a flute in his hand and gopikas dancing and a cow behind, peacocks floating around. This is not what Bhagavan has said over here. He never said that look for me with a flute, with a particular scale, C sharp. He never said any of those things. He never mentioned that there are peacocks floating around him. He never gave his identity as I am the dweller of Gokul and Vrindavan, or even Mathura or Dwarika. No. He says, I am the absolute. The mistake we make is we are adamant in looking for Krishna in Udupi and in Guruvayur. You can go to Udupi, bow down. You can go to Guruvayur, bow down. But don't expect to find Krishna in that statue. That Pal Abhishekam will go on and on until the end of time. The stone is washed. Your buddhi is not being washed. Through that milk Abhishekam, we have to feel that my buddhi is getting Abhishekam over there. For Krishna is right here. But how do I find him? He's telling us how to find him. Aham, over here he's saying, apsu, in water, I am rasaha. I am the taste. I am the sapidity in water. The ability for the water to wet. I am. After this lecture, when you have finished your dinner and you go to do some dishes, turn the tap on and allow the water to go through your hand and feel Krishna. He's in this water. If that understanding is there, you will not waste water. You will not unnecessarily spit somewhere. By knowing this, we get transformed. We go in the shower, do our business of taking bath and come out immediately instead of wasting gallons of water or leaving the tap on and just shaving and nothing happening. We have surely insulted Krishna if you leave that tap on and don't respect the water, because he's saying, aham apsu rasaha. I get very angry at people who mistreat water. Because he said, I am water. Then why are we mistreating? Just because Costco has cases of plastic bottle filled with water, you don't just open, have a sip and toss it. Yeah, you paid for it. But there's Krishna in that bottle. Why are you dumping that? See, this is Vijnana. This is Vijnana. Our buddhi should transform according to what he is saying. Those people who have terrible relationship with water and they disrespect it, at least once in their lifetime, they will experience dehydration. It is a fact. That water will decide to leave you. And that body is 80% water. Even it comes down to 70, 60, brain functioning gets affected. So this is the first one. Then continuing, Prabha aham asmi shashi surya yoho. In Shashi, the moon. How many of us even take time to look at the Krishna Paksh and Shukla Paksh Chandrama? How many of us do we take time to watch the sunset or the sunrise? A daytime, though, it's difficult to look at the sun god. Immediately when we look at the horizon, which is painted in the colors of saffron and yellow and orange, immediately mind should start chanting Aditya Hridayam. There should be a mechanism where immediately we start singing the glory of Surya Bhagavan. The minute we see Chandrama, it should remind us, oh Lord, you're the presiding deity of my mind. Help me conquer my mind. Sam, Sim, Sum, Saim, Som, Sahaha, Samaravalayum, Soma Mandalaya Namaha. He Manasya Adhidevata, Shantim Kurvantu. We have to learn to see Krishna in the Roshani of Moon God, in the brilliance of the Sun God. Pranava Sarva Vedeshu. I am the Omkar in all the chants of the Vedas. Shabda Khe. If we are a lover of silence, those who meditate, they love silence. And if the Shabda is Shabda Brahma, oh, they will enjoy it. But if it is just some prattle, think of it as noise and complete disturbance to the space devata. Somebody sent a clip of the longest during Deepavali, these firecrackers are there. And it goes on and on and on and on. 20 minutes of those fatakes. Utter noise pollution, no regard for space. There's a whole temple devoted to space element, Chidambaram. The space element is worship. And in Deepavali, we create sheer noise. This is Vijnanam, huh? This is Vijnan. Vijnan is how to yoke with Krishna with the knowledge that he has given. Shabdakhe Paurusham Nrushu. The Shurvirta in men. The ability to stand up for righteousness. One person, Nelson Mandela, how many years he spent in prison to become a prime minister for just few years. What is a Paurusham in this person to fight for some freedom? And in this country, we call it the land of the free, the home of the brave. How do we decide what is brave? It can be seen in so many different ways. The whole medical community exemplified bravery during this 2020-2021, still going on. And if they say something, we should simply listen. If Dr. Fauci says something, we should listen and just simply follow him. That's all. Because he is the Adhishtan Devata appointed for medicine. Tomorrow onwards, if we don't start, listening to Vayu Devata, Varuna Devata, Agni Devata, what will happen? So Fauci is also one of the Devatas appointed. But I'm not going to listen. It's not required. There are still people not following the instructions. That is Paurusham Drushu. I'm giving so many different examples. One, a doctor, Gandhiji and Nelson Mandela. It goes on. Learn to look at Shurvirta in each people, each person that comes into your life. That Amazon driver, DHL driver, you're waiting for that document and it arrives and you are able to sign it and the title company processes it in time so that you have locked in your interest rates. I mean, it goes on and on. This is the beauty of learning to see Krishna in everything. This is Vijnan. Punyo Gandha Pruthivyam. Pruthivyam in Mother Earth, Punyo Gandha, divine fragrance. In India, when it rains, you can smell it. Over here, much smell is not smelled over here. But nonetheless, there is fragrance. You grow flowers in pots or whatever it is in your garden, and we smell the rose or the jasmine or whatever it is. It's the essence of the earth which we are smelling through the plant kingdom. This great Mahabhut, Prithvi Mata, Bhagavan says, learn to recognize me in the fragrance of Mother Earth. Tejas chasmi vibhavasohu. In fire, vibhavasohu tejaha. When we first thing in the morning wake up and come to the kitchen, turn the stove on, put water for tea or coffee or whatever it is, how many of us actually look at the Agni Devata? In our culture, it was a custom that when you strike a match and you light the fire in the kitchen, you take little bit of ghee and you drop it on it. It is recognizing that Agni Devata requires this food of Ajya. Ajyopaharan samarpayami. This type of Vijnan, Bhagavan remains with us all day, every moment. This is called awareness in living. Whether we realize or not, awareness comes. And that awareness itself, Chetana Vastu, Jivanam Sarvabhuteshu. I have in my backyard, I put sugar water for hummingbirds. I put some seeds for the birds and some 15 different varieties, minimum of varieties of birds come. And I quietly watch each one of them. And each one of them has a way of eating the same seed. It is a sunflower seed. But how each one of them has their own way of opening it and eating. And I thought of this, Jivanam Sarva Bhuteshu. Oh Lord, wonder of wonder is your Shrishti. Your intelligence expresses through a finch in the most beautiful way of a delicate bird with a strong beak. And your glory expresses through cardinal in a sheer beauty of the redness. The beak is not strong, but it has to take help with its leg it holds and cracks it. And the delicate tongue of a little hummingbird lapping up the sugar water. Listlessly flying in one place, drinking the nectar, but no movement, being in one place. This is Jivanam Sarva Bhuteshu. Walk on the early morning lawn filled with dew. And the life which is nourished by the dew and the grass grows. Jivanam Sarva Bhuteshu. Have you gently touched a giant oak's trunk? How rough it is. Yet, it stands tall in the heat and in the winter, providing acorns for squirrels. That is Krishna. This is Vijnana. Tapasvi chasmi tapasvishu. In the ascetic, I am none other than this ability to sit in austerity. There are people who can fast for days. And wonder of wonder is the ability to have perfect control over the tongue and the mind for the sake of some purpose, to please their Lord, or just because the religion says so. The discipline waking up in the Brahma Muhurta, sitting down and meditating, come whatever may, 45 minutes, lost in divinity. All this, Bhagavan continues, Bijam mam sarva bhutanam Viddhi partha sanatanam buddhir buddhimatam asmi tejas tejasvinamaham. Hey Parth, mam sarva bhutanam bijam, I am the very seed in all beings. The uniqueness of each species. And how beautifully it expresses life. Something may strike fear, like a white shark or something like that, but it is also living. Viddhi partha sanatanam, this life principle is eternal. But its play is seen in a finite presence. I have not paid any money, purchased ticket, and seen movie in a long time. I wonder why people have to pay money and see movies. There's a fantastic live movie going on right now in front of our eyes. Creation is a movie. If we think of it, and the producer, the director, the writer, the actor is Ishvara. And we clap for Steven Spielberg making Jaws and making us scared. At least Krishna is humbling us. I'm not putting down Steven Spielberg, huh? Oh, you can go watch him. But for me, Parabrahma is my producer, director. My Oscar goes to him and him alone. Bas. I thank him every day for allowing me to watch this universe. Such a beautiful world. But we live in concrete jungles and our mind becomes like concrete. You travel in the subway in New York City, you can't even say hello properly. We become jad. With so-called smart technology, we are becoming dumber and dumber. Our gadgets are getting smarter. The height of what we have created in this world, But Paramatma is the support of all. Buddhir buddhimatam asmi. Sometimes I even wonder when I pick up this gadget. And nowadays, you just have to talk to that Siri. And oh my God, what all she will do. You don't have to type or no command. And that Alexa, ahaha, sitting, you can order the whole universe and she will bring it to your front door. Buddhi buddhimatam asmi. The engineers in Silicon Valley, what all things they have done. if we really think about it. I know a neonatologist, he had taken me. They're opening a new hospital over here. He says, Swamiji, please come, and I want at least, he's a chief of neonatology. So he said, at least over here, Swamiji, I want you to, and he told the hospital people, I'm going to invite my Swamiji, and he's going to crack some coconuts, whether you like it or not. So I went over there and I cracked so many coconuts throughout their whole hospital. Let them see. It's a Christian hospital. And every door I cracked a coconut and let them see it. And came to neonatology, that tiny little place where that infant sleeps. It's $3 million each. And the technology in it. The preemies over there, some with underdeveloped kidneys, lungs. We have buddhi buddhimatam asmi. That's what I thought of when I entered over there. I said, this is amazing. $100 years ago, that life would have never made it. But thanks to some fantastically intelligent people, what we've given chance to a life at the time of birth. 100 years ago had no chance. This is what we have done. We have to admire the human intellect for what we have done. We've put Hubble so many miles above us, spinning and giving us a window into the universe and proving that each constellation with each degree which our Rishi told is 100% true. Not one constellation out of what our Vedas have said, Hubble has proved wrong. With precise degrees, imagine. Mind-boggling. Mesh Rashi, 13.5. That means Ashlesha has to come to an end and Bharani has to start. Wow. Amazing. Who said so? Rishi. And then we ourselves have absolutely no faith in astrology or anything. After all, it is that mind that created that fantastic 12 houses with 9 planets and the possibilities to predict the human nature. Because we have not come across a right person who has understood the science properly. Buddhi buddhimatam asmi. Tejas tejasvinamaham. And the brilliance in the brilliant. Just even if you look at some speeches that people deliver, very brilliant speeches. When Obama got the Nobel Prize, he delivered a speech in Oslo, Norway. Listen to it. You know, in the midst of war, we are talking about peace. But what is war and what is peace? Brilliant speech. So, Tejas Tejasvinamaham. Goes on. Balam balavatam asmi kamaraga vivarjitam dharma viruddo bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava. I have gone beyond my time. I don't think I will finish this chapter, but it's okay. I'll continue with on Monday if you want to join me. So if not, it's okay. I'm going to take my time because I'm enjoying it. If you are good, if you are not, such beautiful Bhagavan is talking about how can I do injustice to this? We will continue tomorrow. They have talked about Guru Dakshina. Those of you who see value in spiritual knowledge and the dissemination of it, you may want to support Chinmaya Mission. My life is very well taken care of. Gurudev's umbrella is there. Food, shelter, and clothing, I have no shortage. I have to tell people not to bring food. I have to tell people no more orange clothes. Now I fine people if they give me orange clothes. Anytime you want to give me ochre robe, give me $10,000. It is a dakshina. With that only I will take. Because my closet is filled with it. And I cannot give to your son or daughter, otherwise you will frown at me. I would love to have so many other people helping me. So, joking aside, Gurudev's grace, Bhagavan's blessings, all of us are well taken care of. But today, I come to your home through this medium of technology. When Lord Shiva sits, he sits under a banyan tree. Chitram vatataror mule, vruddha shishya gurur yuvan, gurostu mauna vyakhyanam, shishyastu chinna samshayaha, nidaye sarva vidyanam. I always envy Lord Shiva. I said, oh, I wish I had a banyan tree to sit under. What is this? You are making me sit underneath lights and a blue cloth and nobody around. But this is my Vata Vruksha today. My banyan tree is the mission. So in olden days, we used to worship the banyan tree, go around at Vada Savitri. There is a whole festival for the protection of the banyan tree from where Vidya is disseminated. Ladies offer water, and just like for Raksha Bandhan, they tie a sutra on the hand, they tie a sutra to the banyan tree. So your dakshina is tying a sutra to this institution for this work to go on. Because Shivji's job is not done. He gives knowledge and then samhar. Gives knowledge and then samhar. Over here we give knowledge and the samhar is ahankar. Ignorance comes to an end. So if you want to support the work of Lord Shiva's Dakshina Murti going on in Chinmaya Mission, please do so. And we truly appreciate each and every single person, no matter what they give, or in whichever way, shape, size, and form they give and support this institution. To all of you, I'm indebted. It is my bhagya that I'm continuing my Guru's work. And I hope I can do it until the body falls. I thank you for your support. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhave. Om shanti shanti shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.
Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you, Swami.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Thank you.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Namaste. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.